Welcome to the University of Findlay Art and Culture Show. I am Sharinda Welton, your host, and I am very pleased to introduce Dr. Robert Braylock, who is the Director of Intercultural Student Services here on the campus of the University of Findlay. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you for having me today. I'm excited to talk to you.
Well, I am excited to have you here, and the subject matter is very near and dear to my heart, as I know it is yours, and that is the history of Martin Luther King celebrations on our campus, as well as how the campus has reached out throughout the years and collaborated in special programming historically. So in your role as Director of Intercultural Student Services, what is your responsibility to help catalyze Martin Luther King on our campus?
Definitely. So in my role, I have the opportunity of more or less planning the entire program. And so the celebration of Dr. King's life has kind of, on the University of Findlay's campus, has kind of evolved over the last 5 to 6 years or so. Initially, we will only have the celebration in the mobile food pantry on that Saturday, but we've started to incorporate a Buford dialogue. If we have different guests on campus, we try to get them plugged into classes or different speaking events and things like that. And so it's gone from only having 2 events to more of a week-long celebration. And so my main focus is on the actual celebration that takes place and some of the other smaller events such as the dialogues and things like that. And then the other members of the Buford Center help to plan the mobile food pantry and things like that. So yeah, my main energy is put into the celebration and securing the speakers or the singers and things like that.
And so with the mobile food pantry you're mentioning, and that being the Saturday, is that the Saturday leading up to Martin Luther King Day, or does the celebration start the Tuesday we return from classes so that we're returning from the break, because we're not open on Monday? And does it run that Tuesday through Saturday? How does the school do that?
That's a great question. So we have always had our MLK celebration the Wednesday after MLK Day. And so the holiday is on that Monday. The students and faculty and staff are off, and then we'll have our celebration on that Wednesday. And so the mobile food pantry is the Saturday after our Wednesday celebration.
Okay.
And the toiletry drive runs through the entire week. So from that Tuesday through Friday, and then we're able to distribute the toiletries that are collected on campus to the different community members on that Saturday at the mobile food pantry.
Wonderful. And so there's a lot that you're talking about here that I want to ask more questions,
Yes.
because this is really exciting.
Yeah.
Our students are not only having the opportunity to celebrate the history of an amazing individual and be able to learn about what he's done and then see it in action throughout the years, but then they're being given the opportunity to also put into action the messages that we're celebrating through service and through outreach. So the mobile food pantry, what is that? Is that something that only the university does, or is that something that is part of a program throughout the year tied to the community and it's hosted here that Saturday?
Yep. So the mobile food pantry is an event that we partner with Chopin Hall for, so Christians Helping Other People in Need, which is a local nonprofit organization within the Findlay community. They do a lot of good work in providing food and clothing and things like that to people who are in need. And so they host different food pantries in different parts of the city throughout the year. And so we have one during the fall semester, and then we also have one during the spring semester, which we do during MLK week. So the program is in partnership with Chopin Hall.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And then how do the students become involved with that? Do they sign up ahead of time, or do they just see promotion and just show up and you're not sure who's going to show up?
Yeah, students are required to RSVP in advance, and depending on which mobile food pantry it is during our academic year, we may target certain groups. And so over the past couple of years or so, we've been more intentional about trying to incorporate cultural activities into the mobile food pantries to give the community members experiences that they might not have outside of dealing with the University of Findlay and working with the University of Findlay. And so we'll reach out to some of our IELP classes and different cultural organizations, cultural student organizations on the University of Findlay's campus. And they are able to present about their culture and different values that they have in their home countries or even subcultures here within the United States. And so it's an opportunity for them to, get food, but also to have some type of cultural experience. A lot of times they have children, and so kids don't want to just sit around in a long line for hours on end.
Sure.
Right.
So you're actually providing a service, a respite for the parents too while they're waiting, or grandparents, aunts, uncles, whoever that caregiver may be.
Definitely.
And so you had mentioned IELP. For our viewers who are not familiar with our campus, is IELP a special organization, special class on campus? What is it?
Great question. So IELP stands for Intensive English Language Program. And so a lot of our international students are non-native English speakers. And so a decent number of them need to take those classes in order to become more proficient in English before they start seeking a degree at the University of Findlay.
Okay, so, and that's where they come in to talk about their culture and their clothing and their food and who they are.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
So how many different student groups do we have on campus in the IELP class? How many countries do they represent right now? I mean, is it like 10? Is it more than 10? You don't need to give me the specific number.
Yeah, so
because I know that's not your area, but I know you do work with a lot of those
for sure. So this year, I believe we have roughly 35 to 40 countries represented on the University of Findlay campus as a whole between students, faculty, and staff.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So there's a nice pool of entertainment to pull from for students and children that are going to be in line. Okay, so we've got this really cool food drive, and then we have the celebration.
Yes.
Okay, so I recall that you're an alumni. I recall when you came into my office as I think a sophomore with a vision, and that vision became a beautiful contribution to our campus and to the celebration. And you wanted to start a musical group on campus, and that was a gospel choir.
Yes.
Again, to help with education and heritage, but then that became a huge stepping stone for evolving the celebration. So let's talk about the history, because a lot of times people will see a clip in the newspaper and that's the first thing they've ever seen, so they don't know the university's been doing things and being tied to community.
Definitely.
Outside of the campus. So could you talk a little bit about that? Because I know you know some history.
For sure. So we have been privileged throughout, at least I've been here at the University of Findlay since 2007. And so the entire time that I've been here, we've worked with the Black Heritage Library and Multicultural Center in the city of Findlay. And so for many years, we partnered with them to co-host the Findlay City of Findlay MLK Celebration. And so we've done that for a number of years, but in spring 2013, I believe, January 2013 would have been, I believe, our last year of officially partnering with them in the capacity that we had been doing. And we still help out and things like that if they need any assistance. But we realized that because of the time that the Black Heritage Library and Multicultural Center celebrates MLK, does their MLK celebration, it always happens on his birthday. And so since a lot of our students are gone for MLK Day, which can or cannot fall on his birthday depending on each year, we realized that we weren't having a lot of our students, faculty, and staff engaged at that citywide one. And so we decided that it would be important for us to begin to have our own on campus to engage University of Findlay, specifically faculty, staff, and students. And so we've seen a large increase in engagement from when we only did the citywide one with the Black Heritage Library and Multicultural Center to where we've had our own. And so it was really important, like I said, to make sure that we were having our students, faculty, and staff reflecting and engaging in and participating in the celebration that honored the life and legacy of Dr. King.
And one of the special things that happens annually, and I absolutely love it, and I've gotten some amazing pictures, is the walk.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about the walk?
Yeah. So
it's so special.
Yeah, definitely. So at the end of each celebration, and this is definitely was influenced by our partnership with the Black Heritage Library and Multicultural Center. And so at the end of each MLK MLK Celebration on campus, we have a brief walk to the front of Old Main, which is our most iconic building. And we have a time of reflection and prayer. So it's candle lit, so each participant has a candle, and we're able to just take some times of silence to reflect on how far we've come as a society, but also to reflect on how much work we still have to do in different parts of society, whether we're looking at economics or education or whatever the case may be. There's still a lot of growth a lot of room for growth that we have as a society. And so that moment of silence, that time of silence, is really a place where we're able to kind of get rid of all the outside noise and to really focus in on, like I said, how far we've come, but also how much work we still need to do.
And it's so special because with having people from all over the world be within that space, and to have that silence and to know that it's in unity, but people are able to then in their time speak in their own language, but all at the same time. So cool. I get goosebumps thinking about it. And then so many of the times there's been so much snow on the ground and in the trees, and so then you've got this blanket around you that is just, it's priceless, with a flame that doesn't go out, because we light those. They're not battery operated.
They are not.
And yet people can put their hands around them and they don't go out. It's just, there's so much symbolism there of hope and healing and possibilities and unity. So it's so special.
It's one of the more memorable times of the school year. You know, our photographers and marketing, they always get great shots of us, as you mentioned, huddled around in a circle with candles in our hands, and just, it's a beautiful still moment of just being able, like I said, to be able to reflect and just to be, and to be unified.
So is that open to the community? Because I know that the focus of it is to provide opportunity for our faculty, staff, and students to come together and celebrate and reflect. But is that also something that the community is able to participate in? Are they invited?
It is. And so we don't typically market it to the community because we want everybody, including ourselves, and we still participate in the citywide one sponsored by the Black Heritage Library and Multicultural Center. But ours is open to the community. It is more so targeted to university faculty, staff, and students, but it is by all means open to the community members as well.
And I know that I see a lot of the board members from Black Heritage Library at Multicultural Center that do attend to ours also, which is wonderful to see that support, and that it does go both ways, and that's wonderful because they're a wonderful bridge in our community. So we've talked about the history, and we've talked about the walk and the food drive. What's on target for this year for the celebration? Because I know some years you've had spoken word, you had an amazing choir here one year, you had an actual actor who is endorsed by the King family who came and did multiple speeches as Martin Luther King, and he's actually a dear friend of mine, so I've had the opportunity to enjoy him many times. But it was really special when it was for Martin Luther King. So what's on tap for this year?
This year I am very excited because we're featuring members of the University of Findlay community. And so we will have one of our alumni speaking at this event, Ingrid Godfrey, who was president of our local University of Findlay chapter of Habitat for Humanity for 2 years, involved in gospel choir, led trips to Costa Rica and Nicaragua for our Habitat for Humanity Global Village program. So she'll be coming back and speaking. She just finished serving 2 years in the Peace Corps in Moldova, and she's in her last year of a Master's of Public Health program at the University of Pittsburgh. So she'll be one of our speakers. We'll also be featuring, and everybody knows this young lady, but Aurna. So she's will be performing at the program, doing a dramatic piece on the life and legacy of Dr. King. And then last but certainly not least, we have Olunife, Akinmolayan, who is a sophomore pharmacy major, and he'll also be speaking about the life and legacy of Dr. King.
And because we shared that Ingrid is coming in from Pittsburgh working on
Yes.
her master's, let's mention that Aurna is from, is it Bangladesh?
Yep. Yes.
And then Olunife is
Of
his
Nigerian
home.
heritage.
Yeah, Nigerian heritage, and he's coming from the Chicago area.
Yes. Yep.
So that's really neat.
Yeah, we are very much excited. Ingrid and I worked together as students, so it'll be fun to have her back. But Aurna and Olunife are two very strong student leaders and
Yes,
are
they are.
very engaged throughout
Yes, they are. They're
most of campus.
they are fantastical.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but for our community viewers,
Yeah.
they wouldn't know who they are
They
yet.
wouldn't, that's true.
But they can come find out, can't
They
they?
can.
Now, what time does that celebration begin?
Yes.
And could you give us the date?
Definitely. So this year, which is completely different than years past, the celebration will be taking place during the daytime.
Oh,
so
okay.
it will be on Wednesday, January 23rd at 12 p.m. in the Auditorium at Winebrenner Theological
So it's over
Seminary.
the lunch hour if
It
people
is.
have a lunch hour at noon. Okay.
It is. And so the program from start to finish, including the walk, will last approximately an hour and a half.
Okay. Well, and that'll be a big difference.
Yeah.
Having it during daytime instead of night for the walk.
Yes.
Yeah. So
It
that'll
will.
be cool to see and experience it
Yeah.
in a different light, literally.
We haven't figured that out exactly how we're going to do that part, but it'll still
It'll
be
all come
memorable.
together.
Yeah.
If it's not if, it's meant to be. It's all come together to this
Yes.
point. That'll be perfect
Yes.
also.
Yes. Yes.
As
yes.
it is the way it should be, right?
Definitely. Definitely.
Wonderful. So if someone is interested in more information about this, is there any place online that they can go?
Yes, there should be an article posted within the next 24 to 48 hours from our marketing department about the
Great.
celebration. And so usually it's posted in December or early January once we get back from Christmas break. Information about the MLK celebration will be available. Yep.
Okay, and so would they go to just www.findlay.edu, or do they need to go to a page after they go to the main web page?
They can either go to the main webpage or they can just do a simple Google search of University of Findlay MLK celebration.
Okay.
And information should come up.
Great. And then if someone is watching this and they're interested because they're involved with the Homeschoolers Association,
Yeah.
or they're interested in just having a conversation with someone about Martin Luther King or about heritage, how would they get a hold of you? What is your main point of contact that you prefer use?
Yep, email is fine. And so it will be my last name, Braylock, which is B as in black, RAYLOCKR, at findlay.edu, or by telephone. They can reach me as well.
Okay,
Yes.
and your phone number is 419-434.
6967.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Now, we've talked about the celebration, but there's been an evolution over historically on campus where 22 years ago, it was Martin Luther King Day done.
Yeah.
But over the years, our students have said we want more. And we've had faculty and staff step up and say, what are the possibilities of and what if? And so really there are things happening throughout the academic year now that tie back to the visions and the testimonies and the speeches of Martin Luther King.
Definitely.
Could you share a little bit about that? Because I know that there's one that really touches the heartstrings of the students that get to participate, and that also usually takes place in the spring semester.
Yep.
And that's a little road trip.
For sure. So a couple of years ago, we had this idea where we wanted to do an extended program, but it wasn't going to be during spring break. And so there was an amazing conference happening down in Cincinnati, Ohio, sponsored by End Slavery Cincinnati, which is a group that works to, as its name says, end slavery within Cincinnati and throughout Ohio and things like that. And so this was a one-day conference sponsored by the American Red Cross and End Slavery Cincinnati, where they had different workshops, different speakers from throughout all of Ohio and also different parts of the country that talked about human trafficking and anti-slavery and things like that. So students, as well as myself and my colleague Crystal Whites, were able to hear about just different parts of human trafficking, areas that it may be more prevalent in, different people that may be more susceptible to it, and just kind of how it works, but also different things that we should be on alert of. And so I remember when you hosted a workshop on campus about that and just finding out different signs and things like that to be able to identify a person who might be caught in human trafficking. And so the workshop was really beneficial. The workshops were really beneficial, and being able to spend like a concentrated 8 to 9 hours learning about this specific topic, and ending the day being able to hear from a survivor of human trafficking, who I believe was from India. And so he had come over here, him and his family, and they were working in a restaurant, and he was being treated unfairly and just a very bad situation. But he ended up being rescued from that situation and is doing very well today. And so being able to hear from him firsthand about his experience was really transformative. And so that was a modern day look at slavery and human trafficking. But the following day, we were able to just go right down the road and visit the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center. And so students were able to have a tour of that museum and to be able to compare and contrast slavery and human trafficking from a modern and a historical perspective. And so that was a very transformative experience for all of us, and not just students, but both for Crystal and I as well. And being able to think critically about, what does slavery look like now versus back then? How are things similar? How have things not changed much at all, really? But being able to have that reflection and also being able to bring back that educational experience to the University of Findlay community through the Symposium for Scholarship and Creativity, where the students were able to present about their experiences in a number of different ways through posters and in-class presentations during that amazing day as well.
So it was definitely not something that was just for a day and hope they don't forget
Right.
it.
No.
And I know a couple of the students came back and they were so excited to find out that the city of Findlay was actually part of the Underground Railroad system.
Yeah.
And the pride they had in learning that about the community, which becomes their home for 9 months out of the year and for some of them all year as summer RAs and things. But that was really neat that we weren't telling them that. They were finding that out down there. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And then some of them said that even though they see movies and documentaries, they just didn't believe that slavery still existed because societal media doesn't give it permission to still exist.
Yeah.
And they came back with wide open eyes and minds to, we still have a problem in society.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's a lot of words to describe it. I mean, it's scary, it's concerning, it's heart-wrenching, and so especially where we're located, like right on I-75.
The corridor.
Right, and so a lot of the students didn't realize that I-75, which is just right down the street, our exit, to get off at the University of Findlay, is a huge, passageway for people who are, transporting other people. And so I think it helped make it more real for them, knowing that we're so close to it and that these workshops are actually have a point to them, and that the things that we're learning we can actually use, especially because of where we're located geographically. So, yeah.
So, and then in addition to that, this past year, at the beginning of the school year, there was a celebration of heritage that I know that your area was involved with, along with other areas out of the Buford Center. And that, again, was tied back to celebrating people's differences and similarities.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's things going on from the beginning of the school year throughout, and we appreciate you taking time to come in and share with us. And it's exciting to see how we continue to evolve. And as the students come, it's so wonderful to have someone like you in the place that you are, where they can come with their dreams and then watch them become realities, and then watch them become part of tradition. So thank you for everything you do on our campus, and for not only our campus community, but the greater community, because you definitely make a wonderful difference.
Well, thank you. It's my privilege. It's my privilege. And thank you for this opportunity to share a little bit more about what we're doing through the Buford Center and the MLK Celebration.
You are always welcome here.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching our segment of the University of Findlay Art and Culture Show. We look forward to seeing you again real soon. Be well.